Greetings, my name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, licensed presenters, the Core New Core, my patrons. Thank you one and all, and I encourage you to be a patron for the karma it will bring to both of us. The more you support me, the easier it is, or it makes it possible at all for me to support you. Which is my attempt at making this broadcast to help you understand the knowledge that I'm trying to share with you. So that's how I would frame it. And, oh man, hold on. Love many, trust few, and always paddle your own canoe. That's a quote from Kate Perriton. So I have 5 things. It's been a while. The Macy's Day Parade on Thanksgiving Day in America. As the parade goes by, the store, Macy's, that sponsors it, there's a lot of things that happen, but one of the most prominent things for me is the movement in dance and the synchronization of so many of the performances. So, number 1 is about groups moving and present tense continuous, meaning ending in ing. The fact that we as individuals can create such synchronous movement between many of us is what Macy's Parade really impressed me with this year. All of the effort and the numbers of people in choreographed performances that as an observer one can participate in vicariously, much more easily than, if even possible, to do so in person. Meaning, I could never do what I see them do, but in seeing them do it, and do it so well and so synchronized, just the observer, the audience, and the participation that the audience gets from the performance. And now, to put a weird take on it, weird, maybe that's not the best word to say, to put another take on this, the fact that we're all individuals and that we can synchronize our movement, not just in dance, I had other examples, but in karate, right? In partners or group, kata demonstrations, same kind of thing like the dance outside of Macy's. And then what came to mind also is at the Olympics, in opening ceremonies, the synchronized movements of the performers. One of the reasons for the ability to demonstrate that synchronicity, I think I said that right, is because we're all in the same space. They have the space, and the space literally is, you have the space to move in, and that space to move in is governed by what? So that's gravity, right? Gravity, karga. So, from the point of view of this broadcast, gravity forces the issue of alignment. And when we see such synchronous performance, like at Macy's, or Group Kata, or the Olympics, right? All of that's wonderful and possible because of the individual's ability to synchronize with the group within the space that they have, governed by gravity. I know, if we were all like drones and could fly, then it would be like a drone performance where martingales entrain themselves in flight. All right, so let's go on. Listening is no joke. That's number 2. Listening is no joke. From my observation of my experience, I say listening is no joke because the depth to which you listen to your experience is the depth to which you can remember it. How closely are you listening to what it is that you hope to remember someday? Because how closely you are listening to the experience of that learning or that memory, I think my experience has an influence on how well the impression is made in terms of your experience and then what you can remember of it and how long it lasts. And my focus, and it's such a I roll on my back on the reformer in extension, first mostly just to put myself in a position where I can stretch and see if anything releases, and almost always something does. And for me, in my neck, somewhere in my spine, somewhere, and in my left shoulder, there's always an adjustment. And sometimes to the extent that the tension that I get into here, as I go do this, it's a release that happens in the elbow and then the shoulder, and all of that seems to be out here other than the spinal column. And the challenge for me is to paying attention to the experience that comes out of the effort and try to remember it at least long enough to have some kind of reflection on how you found yourself at the beginning of your workout, meaning how I find myself at the beginning of my workout. And it's fascinating because where the adjustments occur in my neck and to what extent and all of that is a symphony of adjustment going on. I use it as a focal point to challenge me to be listening to the moment that I'm in, to actually be listening, because all too often I get to laying over the ball and can't even remember how my neck and shoulder adjusted. So, paying attention. I hear you, paying attention. Move on. 3. Pass an exam once is part of a quote from the GPS program on CNN by a woman who wrote a book called World Class, talking about classrooms around the world and who tests the highest and why. And the quote that I wrote down out of that, because it sort of struck me 2 ways, at least 2 ways that I want to share with you are, here's the quote: you just can't pass an exam once. You have to keep up your professional development. And it's a fascinating interview. Go watch it if you can. My point about that is the presumption of that like human nature and across the human spectrum of professional services, there are certifications and insurances one pursues and gets, distinctions one pursues and gets, and the Pilates culture quickly evolved into and adapted to the rest of humanity in saying that the certification they grant is conditional upon attaining continuing education credits, right, to keep up professional development, which then becomes one of the main focuses of a school or a business or enterprise of any kind, that then requires a renewal of your certification based on the credits. And that's a jewel of an annuity that you work on. You can, if you're interested in that, in terms of your tribe and the people that you certify. To stay within your realm of certification requires QEDs or CEDs, continuing education credits, CECs. What I would hope you pick up from listening to this broadcast is an awareness of the difference between CECs that you get within the world of folklore, knowledge handed down by word of mouth through the generations, and a place where CECs hardly exist or are pursued in theory, like explanation instead of word of mouth, explanation. Based on Joe's words in his book. All the time that I was involved in trainings that people were looking to get CECs credit for, there's a whole process you have to go through, evidently, to be associated with that or to be granted that privilege. And I always told people, look, you go claim your CECs based on what you learned from me, and let me know if they don't authorize it. And I never heard anyone back saying that what they learned from me was rejected as CECs. And if you want to know more about why that might be, if you went to hermit.com and looked at politics, I haven't written anything there in a long time, but so my point about you have to keep up your professional development. I'm here to suggest to you that keeping up your professional development might and can include your understanding of Pilates from theory, by theory. Your understanding of MMP, because that's a brand of Pilates that has a point of view that comes from the theory that Pilates has an essence of its own. Let me go to number 4. And number 4, the title is Core New Tension is a Fact. Core new tension is a fact of the matter. And see, the matter are really extraneous words, because really it's just core new tension is a fact. And core new tension is that the body has the ability to rotate at different axes within itself, and in oppositional rotation between those axes, they create what I call core new tension, because nobody else has called it anything before I got here and named it. So core new tension is a name. I came up with a name. The definition of the name is oppositional rotation between axes. And over millions of years of evolution, core new tension is a fact. It's the way the body engages itself to move through space. That's what you get from me. Core new tension is a fact. Which brings me back in number 5 to, well, the long text message was Joe has a message for you, I thought would be a title. And then the next title would be, I have a message for you. To distinguish between two messages and two messengers, to help you distinguish the knowledge that I'm trying to give to you and how to look at it, to see it and use it most effectively. To survive doing Pilates. To survive as a Pilates instructor. So, and I've already just said it a moment ago, Joe's message to you is that Pilates has an essence of its own. Joe's method is the pursuit of an experience, performing choreography, specific choreography, his mat. Remember, this is just one point of view of Pilates. All kinds of other points of view of Pilates. Most all of them are coming from a perspective of folklore and knowledge based on word of mouth handed down through generations. That was never enough for me because I wanted to have Pilates right there in the palm of my hand. I wanted to understand what this was for me, so that I could pursue it or get control of it or have it in hand, which means like in control. So let me go on. So Joe's message to you is, this is an experience in the pursuit of performance, of choreography. Okay? And in the pursuit of that, this experience is the complete coordination of being, thinking, and observing, which means that thinking or being or observing can't hog the show and pretend that all of what it is a coordination with everything else. Meaning the mind sublimates its omnipotent view from the individual. Omnipotent. Something that was a good train off the track on a thing. And me to you. So Joe's message to you is that doing Pilates is in the pursuit of an experience, performing specific choreography. And the choreography is a reaction to the reality that we find ourselves in. And so in yoga they have the salute to the sun. Well, in Pilates it's doing the mat. And the mat to me is a salute to the physics that we find ourselves in. The reality of what it means to be biological in nature, meaning we're a big water balloon with some sticks inside it. And we're above air, we're above ground, we're out of water, so we bear all of our own weight. So my message to you is that the way we bear that weight is engaging in core new tension. Core new tension distributes the load as uniformly as you're going to get it to happen in your body. It's just a fact. It's the physics. It's the biology accomplishing the physics. It's just one point of view about core new tension. But the point of view says that, hey, core new tension is a fact. It's just the way the body engages itself to move through space. So learn those words. Core new tension is the way the body engages itself to move through space. So, the joy of moving, of observing movement, of observing synchronized movement. Kibitzing on the participation. Admiring what one of us and a group of us, how the moving can happen. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Connect the dots. Evaluate points of view. It's up to you to add 2 and 2, whether it's in numbers or in common sense, or in what you can sense in real sense. Feel the difference. Evaluate points of view. Both CT and MMP, CT is biomechanical, how all human bodies engage themselves to move through space. You can take that and continue whatever you're teaching as Pilates or whatever else. But knowing the fact of the matter of core new tension gives you 2 things. More uniform engagement of musculature and a sensation of alignment because of the tension between the endpoints. Evaluate your point of view and then add 2 and 2. Direct your thinking. Geist.